Welcome to day two, talking all about lesson planning. So this is a pretty hefty topic, as you can imagine. Again, if you've missed yesterday's training, that is already in the group ready for you, or if you're watching the replay on YouTube, it is here for you as well. Um, so lesson planning, of course, there are a lot of questions that come with it. I need to keep this general, but as detailed as possible because again, we have co-teachers, we have self-contained, we have resource, we have everything in between, trying to come get support. So I'm trying to answer as many questions as I can, but keep you moving forward as you are lesson planning this school year. So let's go ahead and dive in. Make sure you're grabbing the notes guide in the group, checking out all the freebies, the giveaways, the resources, the extra blogs and YouTube videos that I already have for you all about lesson planning. This is one of my favorite topics, so much so that I even have a workshop that I do usually every year to talk about lesson planning because it is such a cumbersome thing that we do in our days. And I'm hoping to give you some tips and tricks as you are planning this school year. All right, so we already know special ed teachers are planning multiple grade levels, multiple IEP goals, different communication needs, different levels of independence, different levels of support, pre-academic, academic, functional skills, everything in between. We know paraprofessionals need clear directions on what to teach and how to teach it. We also know data collection needs to happen, and we need to work on generalization across skills. Oh my gosh, and so much more. Truly, we know it. This is what we do every single day, and we need to make sure that we're doing these things, which is why this is overwhelming, which is why this is a training I do every single year in this group, and you guys want more and more and more details about lesson planning because it is so cumbersome and does take up a majority of your day. So last year's presentation, I talked a lot about gaining attention, warming up, having a review, some vocabulary, that direct instruction piece in there. I spent a lot of time talking about that because I feel like sometimes we miss that and we go straight to small groups or centers or things like that. And then going into independent work and wrapping up. So this is last year's presentation. If you need to see it, it is on YouTube. It is in the Facebook group. Go ahead and find it under the media. And you can watch that there. I'm not going to go into what specific things need to be in a lesson. This is going to be a more general, like planning for the entire school year, to kind of help get you started and set up as you are going through. So the question I get all the time is, how do I know what to teach? This is the number one question I get is, how do I know what to be doing during teaching time? Like, I know I probably should teach numbers and shapes and colors, but how do I know that's what I teach? So you can do a couple different things. You can do curriculum-based planning. It's driven by standards or curriculum that you have. So your state standards you can look up very easily for your state, whether you're using modified or regular standards, those are available to you, and your curriculum. If you don't have a curriculum, go to your standards. You can also go based on IEP goal planning. So if you have students working on specific skills, you can be making lessons based on those skills that they still need to learn and develop. So you are teaching and also collecting data on their IEP goals as they are learning. So that's a way to go through your yearly plan. Theme planning. This one's always really fun. Of course, people have apples for back to school, or they do a whole pumpkin unit, things like that. That's seasonal, themed. You can do that totally. Community-based. Sometimes I've done that as well, where I've based it off of what we are doing for the community, whether it's we're learning about doctors, we're learning about nurses, we're learning about dentists, we're learning about garbage truck workers, and plan units based on that and lessons based on that. Or your daily living skills or your life skills. So that hygiene, the grooming, the self-care, the self-management. If you're more of that life skills, functional academic route, you can be doing lessons based on that. And that could be your ELA, your math, your everything. And we used to do cooking. So cooking was a life skill as well, and we would call that science. And so planning my science lessons around cooking. But that was, again, what my school allowed me to do. But start thinking about which you want to do, and you can do a combination of all of these throughout the school year. My goal is always to have 9 to 10 different concepts or themes that I want to teach throughout the year. Knowing we have about 9 months of school with breaks and things in there, most of my units for lessons were 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how much content I wanted to do, how many more materials I had, how much my students were learning, how quickly they were learning. So that's kind of what I've done in the past if you're looking for an idea of how many themes you need to have. All right, so if you're deciding to go the standards and curriculum route, you go ahead and pull up your state standards, the ones that you are following for your students and your profile of learners. You're going to review all your subject areas, so pull them all. Pull all those grade level standards that you are doing. If you're using modified standards, there's also an alignment to that grade level, which is really nice, that I've seen in the modified standards. And you're going to read through those themes and topics. You're going to try to pull some of those concepts from there. If they're talking about fractions in 6th grade and fractions in 7th grade, that's probably a good one to teach. If they're talking about number one-to-one correspondence in kindergarten and 1st grade, that's probably a good one to bring together because you are trying to get multiple grade levels on the same page and teaching as many standards as possible. Now, if you've ever looked at standards, you know there's probably 30 to 50 standards per grade level, per subject area. There's no way you're teaching all of that. You can try, but it's very hard to do. So you do want to pick the ones that keep showing up and reoccurring for each grade level and pull as many as possible. You can always do exposure lessons of like showing them the skill, but not expecting them to maintain or master that standard. A lot of our students we know are working towards grade level expectations, but a lot of the times are not quite there yet. So just think about that as you are planning. The curriculum. What curriculum do you have? Go ahead and pull your curriculum that you have, even if it is the Autism Helper curriculum. If you're working with ULS or Teach Town, I know Teach Town and ULS are kind of going back and forth where schools are switching between there. I've heard a lot more of that in the last year that they're switching between Teach Town to ULS or ULS to Teach Town. So pull those, see what themes they have, what standards they're looking at, and what kind of materials you might need to help support that curriculum. So that's what I call supplemental materials or things in addition to it. So if you're doing a lesson on old and new, I know that's one that comes up every once in a while. Find some old items that you could bring in. That's a supplemental material to show them what a rotary phone looked like, what an old lamp looked like, that kind of thing. And then materials that you already have in your room. So as you are going through, maybe you're a new teacher, or maybe you have been in your classroom for a while, what materials do you already have? You don't need to recreate the wheel every single year. So you can create units from what materials you already have. You know you have a bunch of let's see, sight word recognition activities. Okay, then let's make a unit on sight words. And go from there to kind of help you get started for your school year. All right, then we have IEP goals. So we talked about how you can create units for that, group students together, all those things. Try to bring that into your classroom as much as possible. So I previously had students that were working on number identification. That was a big goal that we always had because that's the foundational skill you need for lots of different things. So when we were doing telling time, I had them identify the numbers on the clock. I would point to a number. They wouldn't say 7 o'clock. They would say it's 7. Fabulous. That's all I needed. I was working on their IEP goal as I was teaching them about time. Same thing with fractions. I had 3/4. What number's on the top? 3. What number's on the bottom? 4. Is working on number identification in fractions. So that money, you can do the same thing. What number is on a $5 bill? 5. Okay. So I was always trying to bring in their IEP goal into what we were doing. And I was trying to find it, even the foundational pieces of it. Um, Other student deficits, things that you've seen too. I previously had a student that I learned that they could, um, oh, just the example just totally slipped my brain. Oh, they were having a hard time reading left to right. And that was not a goal that we had worked on. But working on reading left to right is something I can do in every single class. It wasn't their IEP goal, but I noticed they were kind of just like flipping back and forth, looking at all the pages, not figuring out where we were, but we could work on that in the middle of class, and that when I was reading at the board, I was tracking, showing left to right, left to right, left to right, and modeling it for them, or I'd have them come to the board and do it for everybody so that they could learn tracking left to right. Student and family requests is another one. If there is something that the family would like them to work on, I always send out a survey at the beginning of the year, which I will share in the group, that talks about the student deficits and student the things that the family wants the student to be able to do or to work on. And so I do try to incorporate that when I can in class, even if that is like a hygiene thing or a self-care. I do try to incorporate that in our units as much as possible. All right, so when you figure out your skills that you want to teach, which there's a bunch of skills listed at the bottom here, then you're going to go and say, what IEP goals connect to this? What do I want students to practice? What does it actually look like? Do I need to like set up a simulated activity for them to use their communication device or do a functional routine like hygiene and brushing their teeth? What does success look like? How do I know that they've mastered it? Do I need to create a data sheet or a rubric? I need to know that. And how will students show what they know? Do they need to physically do it? Are they going to write a sentence? Are they going to sort an activity? That kind of thing. So the skills and then what they are going to do from that. So that's something you need to think about as well, is what the outcome is. Because I think we get so wrapped up in the lesson and we do the lesson, we do the teaching, but what are they going to show to know? And I'm hearing it more and more from administration that we are looking to figure out how our students know what they're doing. How are they showing you that independent practice or assessment at the end? I think we miss a lot of the time as we are lesson planning. So try to think about how are they going to continue to show what they know how to do. All right, fitting it all in one lesson. So this is a question I hear constantly. How do I fit it all in? How do I get it a whole group, small groups, centers, independent work, bathrooming, everything, behaviors, sensory breaks, literally everything, communication. How do I get it all in? It's really hard. And the hard truth is you can't. You can't do it all in one lesson in one day because yes, that would be a perfect world that you could do all those things. A whole group we are finding is not helpful for special education students. There is research out there, happy to share it. But whole group instruction is good to teach school skills. It is good to teach this is how school functions. It is not good for students to retain information that way. We have individualized education plans so that they can work at their level, at their pace. And when you're teaching to the whole group, you're trying to hit a target, a moving target of kids on different sides of that target. So that's my little soapbox there is keep your whole group instruction, which again, I know administrators are asking for, to a minimum. So I try to keep those lessons 10 to 15 minutes. And a lot of the times my whole groups ended up being a warm up or vocabulary, or I introduce the topic very briefly so that we can then split into more smaller groups. It was easier for me to teach in smaller groups with rotations of the staff or rotations of the students, depending on the year, so that I could isolate those skills a bit more and individualize the teaching that is happening. And tomorrow we will talk about differentiation, which again is not an easy task. You guys picked some really great topics this year. Independent work, one-to-one work, or like I need to work one-on-one with you. IEP goal work, technology time, daily needs, all of that fitting into a lesson is very hard. You do try to balance it as much as you can. Find those pockets of time that you can do a whole group instruction. Find the pocket of time that you can take a sensory break or go to the bathroom, you yourself and your students. It is very hard to do all of it, but try to do it as much as possible throughout the day. I wouldn't try to say you're doing all these things in one lesson. Do it throughout your day. Like technology time could be in math, but it's not in ELA. Independent work is in science and ELA. It's not in math. However, you need to do it so that you can kind of find that balance. I do have this planning doc for you in the group. This is something I share out at my workshop every year as you are going through your standards or your curriculum, trying to write down the theme, the concept, the skill you want to teach. Put that in your running list of ideas. Then the grade levels. So if you are 6th, 7th, 8th grade, you're going to write 6th, 7th because that was the only time it showed up in those standards. Or 7, 8 if that's the only time it showed up in those standards. And then the time is where I put like what month I think I might want to teach it. So again, we want to start with all of those prerequisite skills that students need in order to then reach some higher level skills. So I would start with number identification and then go to telling time and money and fractions, right? Because then I can kind of build on those skills as we're working through the year. And then I usually just put a little checkbox of when it was done or when it is in the schedule to get done. So that is a freebie in the group for you. All right, your action step for today is to pull your state standards. Use your available curriculum. Again, you might not be in your classroom yet, and that's okay. But look through that and try to pull some concepts and ideas from it. Look at your students' IEP goals. How do they relate? Again, might not have them yet. It's okay. And you want to pull 9 to 10 topics that you want to teach in each subject area so that you can hit all of those things. All right, so I've talked about my workshop. It is on sale for $27 until August 1st. You can go ahead and scan that QR code if you want to get access to that. This is a recorded workshop. This is not live, so you can watch that at any time and you have access to this permanently. So it goes through talking about how to pull your state standards, how to do that required curriculum, supplemental materials, how to have some fun, throw some theme lessons in there, and how to incorporate your student IEP goals in there. So I do a whole training on that. So this was just a piece of that full training that you would see. And that is an hour-long training. So you do get a bunch out of that for under $30. So if you want that, again, scan that QR code, pause this video, grab that. I will make sure this link is in the group as well, so that if you would like to check this out, you totally can. All right, let's have a great school year. I will see you tomorrow to talk all about differentiation. But I thank you so much for your time. Truly appreciate you being here. If you want to enter today's giveaway for access to the course or the workshop, please make sure to do so. I do want to make sure that you guys are getting a lot of fun stuff and a lot of freebies. So make sure you are checking the group for all the downloads, all the resources, all the blogs, so that you can get as much information for your toolbox this school year.